Today, we're gonna go on a little journey together. You see, a couple months ago, Eli called me one night and pointed out a gun that has become we might call it a burning obsession. I know that I need a historical Colt 1911, but I've been waiting on one that spoke to me. What Eli pointed out to me on that phone call was not just an old Colt 1911, but a 1911 that was coming up for sale at Rock Island Auction that had some particular significance. It was a 3-digit serial number Colt, meaning it's within the first 1,000 Colt 1911s ever made. As it turns out, the serial number on this particular 1911 is 666. That's right. It is the 666th 1911 ever made. And that, my friends, it's got a little bit of spice on it. So join me today, families of America, as I'm at the most prestigious gun auction in the world, trying to win the Devil's 1911. Okay, everyone, let's start getting into it. I'm actually really excited about today. So here's the premise. We're here at Rock Island Auction, and leading into this, as I've talked to just some friends and stuff, and I'm like, you know about Rock Island Auction, right? I've been shocked how many people were like, no. I'm like, you're like a gun guy and you don't know what Rock Island Auction is? That does feel a little criminal.
It is crazy.
So to give you a sense for it, Rock Island Auction is the premier firearms auction house in the world. And I don't really even think there's any debate about that. Nope. I mean, that's just pretty clear. So if you're looking for like the new Springfield Echelon, this is not where you come. No, this ain't the spot for it. So I'm going to rattle off a few things here. Some of the cool sales. So Tom Selleck's personal fit special that was also screen used in Blue Bloods. They actually sold that a couple months ago. That sold for $22K. Elvis's Colt Python, $172K. How about Han Solo's blaster from Star Wars? That was 1.05 mil. We got Teddy Roosevelt's single action Army. That's at 1.47, a deal in my mind.
True.
And then the second most expensive firearm sale of all time were General Grant's pair of Remington New Army pistols at 5.17 million. So that's the kind of stuff they do here. It's pretty wild. And what's fun about today is we genuinely don't know how this goes. I mean, at the time we're actually filming this intro right now, we don't know how this day will shake out.
Nope.
So for folks that don't know you and you're like, who's the guy in this interesting sweater and hat and all the things going on here? Tell folks who you are. Hey,
I'm Eli Duckworth with Alchemy Custom Weaponry. Alchemy Custom Weaponry, we make badass 1911. That's about the only way to really shake that down. You know, everything's hand fit. We do everything in a classic style, which makes sense. Being here at Rock Island, we've seen plenty of classic 1911s here going across the block. Our guns are phenomenally fit and finished. I mean, of course, I'm biased on this, but listen, we are a company of 1911 enthusiasts. And I think that's something that's pretty important when you're buying from, a 1911 company. Mm-hmm. You don't see, you don't see other people here at the Rock Island Auction looking at 1911s or Colt 1905s in my case. We're just really ate up with 1911s. We love them as much as you love them. So of course, if you're interested in a 1911, a hand-built custom 1911, give us a holler.
We've even done, we filmed in Indiana last year, basically how the Alchemies are made. That's actually a pretty cool, insightful video. If you guys want to check that out, because you actually kind of see the hand fitting, everything that goes into that. I've got Quantico, I've got a new one, we'll call it in the works, but we can't spoil the party on that yet. I guess you guys will stay tuned, but I do think you'd be interested though.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty great one. And, we've really solidified ourselves as a 1911 company that loves the history of the gun with our, for instance, Resto mods, where we go back and we basically recreate famous guns. Classic custom guns, sometimes not even classic custom guns, just guns of a different era, so that you can have a gun that performs like a new gun, but sort of has that nostalgia attached to it in its aesthetic appearance. So, of course, we love stuff like this. We love anything history-based. We love anything like that. So we're just happy to be here.
Awesome. Okay, so let's just give people kind of a rundown of like what this auction is and kind of like the lay of the land on this thing.
Yeah, of course. So Rock Island Auction, of course, as we've talked about, it is one of the most incredible auction houses for firearms in the world. There are a couple of different types of auctions. The two major ones I think people are going to be interested in is the Sporting and Collector, which is what we're at here today.
Yep.
And then, of course, the Premier, which is just an absolutely excellent purveyor of different firearms from basically the beginning of firearms history to present day. There's nothing wrong. The Sporting and Collector, in my opinion, is kind of the ones to
sweet
hit
spot
because you can really find some good deals there. But of course, Rock Island Auction, they do this particular auction is a 3-day event from Friday to Sunday.
Yeah. About
1,000 guns a day. And there's some really cool, interesting stuff. They kind of sprinkle it all. I mean, there's really all eras of stuff here.
Yeah.
From blunderbusses, flintlock blunderbusses, all the way to, submachine guns.
Yeah.
It's really an incredible event to be at.
And it goes quick in there.
Yes.
And that's one thing that became very apparent when we were here. And we were here yesterday, and I was talking to some of the guys, like, most of the lots, right? There's basically about 1,000 lots per day. The lots might typically is just one gun, but sometimes it's 2 guns, but 1 lot, right? So you're bidding on the guns as a pair. Might be 3 guns, maybe 4 max. But of the 1,000 lots today, you think about that, 1,000 lots in a day. So they're about a minute a piece on average. So you got to be on your toes.
There are certain guns that will command a bit of the bidding war.
Yes.
We saw a cavalry issued and factory lettered Colt single action Army earlier.
Yeah.
It went up to about $9,000.
Yeah.
It sort of had a little bit of drama attached to it, but there are also some guns, if you find like maybe a refinished Colt revolver of a little bit later era. And that gun, maybe not as desirable to collectors, so it moves pretty quickly.
Oh, it might be 30 seconds. Yeah.
And it really might be just 2 or 3 bids. Boom, they're on to the next one. They really don't do this. You watch the car auctions where they're kind of hanging the gavel, waiting.
They move.
They move quick.
So you got to be on your toes. Yeah. Okay. Now let's really show you, like, what guns are we actually here pursuing. Okay, everyone, let's talk about sort of the game plan of the day. I have spent an obsessive amount of time game planning this day out. And because there's 1,000 lot numbers today, basically I'm stuck waiting until my gun that I'm pursuing hits. I can't basically do anything until my first choice comes up.
Right.
So I'm basically stuck.
You may blow the load early.
Right.
You don't want to do that.
Well, and it happens. I mean, it happens to the best of us, and it's, sometimes you... But the auction's going right now, so we're basically sitting out because there's nothing for us to do right now. But so my plan, and just so you guys have a sense of budget, right? I'm just going to be real candid with you guys and sort of how this day is going to shake out. So there's 2 things you got to factor in when you come to Rock Island. So there's basically your hammer price, as we call it.
Sure.
Which is, hey, the gavel goes... Is that what they call it, a gavel?
Yeah.
A gavel?
No. Gavel.
Gavel?
Gavel.
Not a gavel. Okay.
Not gavel.
Okay.
Gavel.
Okay. Gavel. When that gavel comes down, that's your hammer price. Okay. But you got to factor in, what they call a buyer premium and tax and things like this.
Absolutely.
So, you got to factor in about an additional 20% that you're paying on top of your hammer price with the gavel. Yeah. So basically, my total hammer price today that I can go to is, and I'm trying to be a little thoughtful in terms of how I describe these things on YouTube, but would be 5750. 5750.00 is my total spend that I can go up to today, and you can add it up. That's a 5750 is what that is.
Oh, okay. See, okay. I get it now.
Yeah, we gotta slow the math down for the big guy. So, basically, here's my plan A, and we'll just talk a little bit about this bad boy. So this is really how the whole thing came about, right? Is Colt 666.
Right, and I remember, Caleb and I were going to be coming down to Rock Island anyways.
Yeah.
And I remember I'm going through the catalog, trying to figure out what I'm kind of after. I'm pretty laissez-faire. There's only 2 guns I'm after this year, both of which are pretty heavy hitters on the wallet. So, I'm kind of just playing that by ear. But I came across this government model, and here's my rule of thumb, is I look at every single pre-war 1911 or government model period.
Sure.
And when I ran across this one, I noticed it was in kind of a little bit of beat up shape. That's okay though, because sometimes, when you're dealing with the collectors that come to Rock Island Auction, that's a good way to snag yourself an early gun.
Right.
And by just seeing the markings under the ejection port, I knew this was probably 1912 gun. Of course, it doesn't have the 1913 patent on the slide, which is really cool. Again, you can kind of start to determine this is a little bit of a older gun, probably a first-year gun. Then you notice the sights, right? And then you're like, okay, well, this isn't all correct. The stocks are obviously replacement stocks. And so you start to think, well, maybe I can get myself into a really early 1911. And, listen, I don't mind having a gun with a little bit of character. So I was like, man, this is a really cool gun. And then I saw it.
Yeah.
C666. That's absolutely ridiculous. And like, listen, I'm a God-fearing Christian, Southern Baptist by heart, holding the snakes and the whole deal. And I'm telling you, as much as I am that, I cannot begin to describe how cool it would be to own 666. And then I thought to myself, well, listen, I've already got to run a little bit of a bad luck. Maybe I don't need to push that any further. So I called up my only friend that really deserves this gun.
Who would you know that would be a good fit for this thing?
And that's you, dude. And
I'm him.
You've been wanting an old Colt for a long time yourself. And so I thought, literally, you cannot pick a better one than a first. And not only is it 666, but it's a first-year government model.
Yeah,
which
it's an awesome gun. Period.
Yeah,
aside from the serial number, but
and even with some stuff that's not correct, and even with the finish kind of being, I think it has been refinished. But even with all that, it's kind of like, for you, you're not really someone that's gonna, die on your Colt collection.
No.
That's a great gun to stick in there. And then, of course, the provenance of 666.
Right. And so the thought is, because it's not actually, look, here's the hope today. Well, there's a couple. So this has actually gotten a bit more complicated as we got here yesterday. So basically on today's Friday of the auction, the day before this kicks off, there's a preview day. You can come to this hall here and you can check everything out. So when we were checking it out yesterday, we were like, okay, there are a couple like quirky things that presents both good and bad things. Because for a real Colt collector, this is actually probably not going to be that high on the list.
Well, no, it shouldn't be. The big thing, though, is it is a first-year government model.
Right.
Of course, government model being the commercial version. Those are, in my opinion, actually becoming more valuable than even the military guns. So I really think that there's some things that Colt collectors are going to be drawn to initially with it. My hope for you, though, is there are some things, and I did a detailed strip inspection of this gun yesterday for you.
Yeah.
There's some things that I think if dudes are pretty hardcore about 1911s, they're going to see, and they're probably going to
bow out, or at least drop their price down that they're willing to pay.
Right,
and that's kind of where I've come to, is like, hey, where I started, I was willing to go to about 5 G's on this.
Right,
and
after my detailed inspection, you and I have talked, and I've kind of give you a new figure that you probably don't want to go over to be safe on.
We're probably looking at about half that. So my top line's probably about 2,500.
Right, and the thing with this one too is this is a gun that you've already expressed interest in restoring. Should you get it, which is going to probably be another $2,000-3,000 on top of that.
Yeah.
And that's if you're lucky.
Right.
That's if you're lucky. And there's some other things with this gun, particular that I found that, of course, you and I discussed privately that further complicate the situation. So while this is still one of my favorite guns of the auction, I definitely have kind of urged you to reevaluate kind of where your top end is.
Well, because I'm impulsive and I'm reckless, and that's how I live life.
But it is C666.
I know.
And there's only one of those.
I know.
And it's a pretty unique gun all in itself. It kind of checks all the boxes that you particularly want, and then checks one you didn't know, and that is your contract with Lucifer, with Beelzebub, as we call him down south.
My friend, if you think I didn't know that I already had that contract, the contract's been there since I was born.
Beelzebub's pistol. And so
that's my plan A. Here's where it gets interesting. So that's lot 679. There's about 1,000 lot numbers for the day. So basically, I'm stuck waiting until this comes up. Now, if I get it, great, cool. That'll dictate sort of the rest of the day. Am I going for anything else? But if I don't get it, I immediately, because the day's moving at a super quick pace, I've got to move to plan B. So I'm going to show you guys a couple of the plan B options. Guys, a thanks to the sponsor of today's video, that would be Ciguera Gear. So they make, some of you actually occasionally pull this move on me. I've been in various places and you're like, belt check, show me what you got. And I'm like, at first I'm caught off guard and I'm like, what do you mean? And then they're like, no, show me what belt, see if you're actually wearing the belt that you promote. So Ciguera Gear, great company, make a great belt. I use the light inner Velcro belt. Just keep in mind, everyone, they make more than just this. They have battle wagons, the emissary belt, sort of the all around, do a little bit of everything belt. This is what I like. So I wear and I talk about it all the time. It even has the soft side of the Velcro, so it's not going to rub up against your tummy. If you happen to own a tank, obviously, hey, it'll blend in, right? So like these, if you were here, you could buy the tank, you could wear the belt, and it would all work out. You guys can plug in the code 1911 Syndicate. That saves you guys 10% off the store. If you're looking for any other ways to support the channel, We're still a real estate business. The real estate market is shit right now, but we appreciate if you guys do need to buy or sell a house, reach out to us. That helps keep the lights on. And we've got our Patreon link below where we do private classes, whiskey releases, behind the scenes content, giveaways, all kinds of cool stuff. So check that out. Appreciate it. On with the show. Okay, what are you going for?
Yeah, so, you know, I'm a big 45 guy. Bet you didn't know that.
It's a little bit of news. It's a little bit of a news flash.
So I'm picking a gun that I've wanted forever. It's going to be a hard one to go after, but I think I'm going to try, and that is this Colt 1905. Of course, as we've talked about before, this isn't a cherry by any means, but there is something about that. I think that you know, a lot of people that go looking for these Colt 1905s will find that a lot of them have a ton of wear, and I think that's indicative of the fact that these guns were really heavily adopted by the American fighting man early on, especially because this was pretty much the big bore automatic, and for a lot of Americans, they always carried big bore revolvers. They were kind of shy on the automatics because they usually had small bore cartridges. So this is the first 45 ACP pistol John Moses Browning designed. It is the Colt 1905. This one's it's seen some things, you know.
But I really just keep coming back to. I think it's part of the appeal and the charm for me.
Absolutely, dude. And this is a decently early one because, of course, it still has the round hammer versus the spur they added later.
It's cool with the knurling on the hammer.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, it's just, you know, when we talk about that whole, like, they don't make them like they used to thing, when you, and I'm very new to the vintage gun scene, but it's like, I really do find myself coming back to that thought process more and more. It's like, yeah, man, they really don't make stuff like they used to. Well,
and you know, this is a cool gun too because, of course, the Thompson-Lagarde test happened a year before, so Browning really didn't have a ton of time, but he developed not only this gun from his 1903, 1902, obviously the 1902 military, the 1903 pocket hammer kind of together. Not only did he develop this gun, you know, then he also developed the cartridge for it. And of course, the first 45s were in a 200 grain versus 230. But this is a really cool gun, dude. It's always overshadowed by the 1911 because the 1911 is the 1911. Sure. But to me, when you say I'm a disciple of Browning, I love the 1911. There is absolutely no gun that you should have in your collection more than a Colt 1905.
Okay. Maybe the best way to cue you up for this is, what in the actual hell?
Yeah, man. The Gyrojet Mark I Model B. How cool is this?
Look, it is very funky and cool. I don't even really understand what it is.
But no, this is a super, super cool gun. Honestly, it's a very expensive paperweight if we're being relative here because it is so expensive to shoot because it doesn't shoot your standard cartridges, right? It is a rocket pistol. It is the Gyrojet. So it literally ignites rocket fuel and pushes it down the barrel with
so badly
4 fin jets to spin. Oh my gosh, yeah. But Brandon Herrera blew one up the other day. So
oh well, dang it. So what was the Bond reference on this?
Yeah. So this one's one of those super rare birds. It was in You Only Live Twice. So
yeah, not the best.
Think back to the late '60s space age kind of feel, right? That whole movie has rockets being captured in space and a volcano lair that needs to be attacked. So what better to arm ninjas, Taira Tanaka, his ally in Japan, than their ninjas, than a rocket pistol, rocket carbine, and rocket rifle. They have the whole set. Now, unfortunately, Sean Connery never actually handles any of them on screen, but they're just such a cool piece of cinematic history, but also there's actually a lot of crazy real world history with these guys as well.
Right, and I mean, you notice even on the bottom of the grip, you know,
yeah.
You're like, where's the magazine? You're like, well, I guess there isn't one.
Yeah, it's kind of built into the grip there. You can see there's like a spring that gets coiled down. Kind of like those Ruger mags.
Yeah.
So occasionally life just, you know, your life's going along and you're on a path and your life goes, I think I need a harpoon gun.
And honestly, I think we all get to a point somewhere where we say, I need a harpoon gun. This is just your particular awakening.
Today is the day. I have very seldom been more thrilled about something I've ever seen. I mean, this is so exciting. I've actually wanted a spear gun on my wall for a little while now.
That's
so guys, this is not the screen used harpoon gun. However, this is the harpoon gun from Jaws.
It is the Greener's light harpoon gun.
Yeah.
It is made from, I mean, as if you really care about any of what I'm about to say, other than the fact it's a harpoon gun.
Right.
It is made from a Martini Henry, which is a cool gun in itself, but now is obviously absolutely wicked. What you do is it is a loading firearm, and you drop that block. You put in a 38 special blank, which we've started to now think, well, what if we make those blanks a little hotter?
Yeah.
How's that going to affect things?
Oh, you know what? Blue whale. Goodbye. That's what that does.
And, then you're able to fire a harpoon. Now, I think that in here, you can take that back. I think we do need to call attention to the ammunition in which this is firing, because this is absolutely
terrifying.
I mean, truly, in a room where there is a tank, where there is machine guns, where there are many things that are terrifying in the world of firearms.
Yeah.
This is absolutely the most terrifying.
If you were picking of the 3,000 lot items that are about to hit over the next 3 days, what is the one you want to get shot with the least? This is it.
And listen, I don't want to get shot with, a BB gun, but, this is obviously the worst thing ever.
It's going to suck.
You can see it has the brass fit here where you run your line, which...
It comes with, by the way.
This comes with an entire case.
Look at this case.
Entire case. You have your line. You have, I believe these are actually, oh yes, these are original blanks here. You have you have a cleaning kit. I mean, listen.
And 3 harpoons.
Listen, this isn't just
3 of these bad boys.
Gun. Okay, this is an experience.
Yeah.
This is a lifestyle, if you will. And listen, there are 3 movies in which this gun has been used. Of course, Jaws, Orca. I don't even know what that is, but I assume we're shooting an orca.
It doesn't sound like it goes well for the orca.
Yeah, listen, if you said orca or Greener's Light Harpoon Gun, I'm going Greener's Light Harpoon Gun every time. And the other one is actually Waterworld. So Kevin Costner uses that as well. But dude, listen, there are so many beautiful Colts and beautiful Smith & Wessons and Winchesters. And when I found that gun, I think I went, oh my God.
Yes.
What more could you want? And all I can think about, and maybe this isn't a good trait, but like the self-defense aspect of this.
Yeah. Bedside gun.
Somebody comes into your home and that is what they're greeted with.
Right. You just go high ready, and then you just smoke a harpoon through a thug.
And it's like, you pin them on the wall, man. It's like...
Yeah, these will deploy, right? So, I mean, like, that's ultimately how this goes, right? So, I don't care if you're an intruder or a megalodon. Ain't gonna go well.
And here's the thing is, like, I like to give you the historical, significance of things. I like to talk... It doesn't matter.
Nah.
It's a harpoon gun.
Yeah.
And truly, when I saw this, and after we kind of examined in further detail 666, I sort of said, Jake, maybe a pivot is in order.
Yes.
Maybe a pivot is in order. And truly, and here's the crazy thing, you have a great collection of firearms. I mean, you really do. You have a great collection of firearms, some really high-end pieces, some really low-end pieces, but some really high-end pieces. And... I think no matter what gun you ever add to your collection after this, that is still the centerpiece.
It's still the pinnacle.
You could have a machine gun. I don't even think a machine gun's as cool as this.
I don't either. So guys, we're going to see how this goes. Sadly, this lot number is not until Sunday. So based on what happens today, I may or may not be able to reserve funds and do phone bidding on Sunday. So we're going to see how it shakes out.
Well, and of course, that's something too with Rock Island Auction. If you aren't here at the show, of course, you have the option to phone bid. You have the option to bid online. You can, I believe they stream the auction as well. So you can actually watch things go across the block. So it is important. If you can't come down here and enjoy it, which honestly, dude, if you're someone who enjoys fine firearms, you need to come down at least once. I would say a premier auction is probably a good one to choose. One's coming up in May. And I'm telling you right now, this is a unique experience. I walked in yesterday thinking, I'm going to look at some old Colts, and now we're drooling over a Greener's Light Harpoon gun.
Let's see how it goes. I'm getting amped up.
Dude, I'm telling you, like this is what I was talking about earlier. When you go to this auction, it's so invigorating. You don't have a lot of time.
No.
You don't even know where the auction's going to start. So you might have a number in your head that you say, hey, I don't want to spend this. And then they go, hey, $2,000's where we're starting. And you go, well, shit.
I'm out.
I was able to take apart that gun, and we've completely reevaluated this gun based on some things that I found on it.
Yeah. So I'm going 2,500.
So you're 2,500, and that's a hard
Max.
line out. Even if that gun sells for 26, I think we stay 2,500.
His main lot that he's going for is 731. My next two most exciting ones are 732 and 733. So there's going to be 3 back-to-back lots where we're probably going to be just slanging it.
So I'm thinking, together, I would like to see both of these at 1,600. You are in a space where everyone knows what these guns are.
Look, I won't flinch at 1,600 on that.
Okay.
The truth is, I'm willing to go a little higher than that.
Sure. And I think too, you have to understand, like you from a business perspective, you kind of need these guns.
Yeah.
This lot here. So this is the second lot.
Yeah.
It's interesting because the 08 we found comes with the letter. And that is pretty cool. That's something that always letters, and here's a Colt collector tip for you. Letters always increase value.
Okay.
I think either one under 2 is a fair bet. So you see there, they have their card right here, and they're just flipping it as the people on the phone, going back and forth. We're at 14,000.
Wow.
It's the second
Holy shit, 15. They're at 15.
Slide catch needs adjustment.
16.
Has
They're
spots,
16.
has spots of corrosion. We're at 18,000. Listen, somebody who really likes an Austrian painter is after that guy.
This is just ego. That's all this is. This is just ego. They're at
25,000. And unfortunately, I don't know enough about German sidearms to tell you, is this a good deal?
25,000. He's gonna hammer it.
Just dragging it out.
Going to be a last call. Fair warning at 27,500 last call. Sold 25,000 to bidder 3.
Damn. 25,000. That's
Ridiculous, but exciting.
Tell me what that estimate was again.
The estimate was 1,300. So this Radom was in a lot that sold with the P38 that sold for
1,400, yeah.
1,400. And so all that proves is that it really just takes 2 to tango. And then also there must have been something special about that Radom earlier.
That's wild.
Okay.
We're getting close right now. We're getting very close right now.
We got, virtually a page and a half to your first gun.
And we got 10 lots. So here's the problem. The price estimate is listed at 3,000 and 4,500. Is that right? So if they open at 3,000, I'm out. Like, I never even bid on the thing that I flew to fucking Texas for.
Why didn't they make 666?
That's what I'm saying.
666.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, this is going quick. We're going quick on these.
Hammer.
This is actually getting kind of nerve-wracking right now. I gotta admit.
Well, then, if you don't get this first one, then you're even more.
I have to pivot hard.
Yeah.
Well, then I really got some shit on the line.
Yes. Here we go.
It's not a big deal.
Boom. We're out.
Jesus Christ. I fucking flew to Texas, and the opening bid is more than I'm willing to spend. Son of a bitch.
Shit.
I would have been out right there. Originally, I would have been out right there.
Before I looked it over.
Yep.
Damn.
That would have been my top dollar pre-knowing the issues. Damn.
So that gun actually has, now I can say, that gun actually has a pretty significant dent in the frame that has been repaired at some point, which is why I told you to back off so much.
Yeah.
So anyways, now the next gun up is a government model.
Fucking plan B now. Now I gotta go to this shit and
All
figure
right,
this
Nick.
out. I didn't even get to bid on my gun.
You literally got
I feel
out.
so
You got
sad.
out-dicked from the get.
They were like, "Oh, poor people, go ahead and bow out," and I was like, "Okay."
All right, race fans. So Nick the Dick, the fetish embracer, the man who loves feet pics, he is getting ready to go for a 1902 military. And here we go, race fans. 1902
Here we go.
military.
Come on. Come on, baby.
Come on, baby. I think under 2.
Jump in that fucking.
Come on.
Jump in that pool.
Come on.
Jump in the pool.
Come on. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Hammer the damn thing.
Get the fuck in there.
Woo!
Yeah, buddy.
That's what I'm talking about. On a deal. On a deal. On a deal.
All right, tell them what I did.
So Nick just advanced
Oh,
his
damn.
culture as a man with his recent purchase of a Colt 1902 military 38 ACP, predecessor to the 1911. So good for him. That's an excellent add to the collection.
What did he go for? 16?
16. So it went a little high off his estimate, but it's still worth it.
That 1908 sold at 1200.
Oh God, that's exactly where I had it.
1200 is what that was.
That's exactly where I had it.
Okay, so currently, where are we in the day? It's about 320. We're at lot 694. Two guns have been purchased. Neither of those by the host. One by the guy holding the camera. One by Matt sitting next to you. Who, you know what? We met yesterday. He's just, I mean, literally, we just met in the streets of Dallas yesterday. He's buying his first 1911 today. Shit is wild.
That is genuinely one of the wildest things ever.
It's the best.
And also, congratulations joining the Club of Man with your new 1911.
So he's up next. Here we go. Okay. Not bad. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, this is all you, dog.
Shit.
Get in the fucking game. He's in the zone. He's in the zone. It's like a cheetah in the wild before they pounce.
Yup.
That's all fucking you.
Come on, hammer it, hammer it, hammer it.
Yeah! There we go. There we go, baby.
Oh, 2607.
There we go. What was the final?
17.
17. Well, 16.
Oh, was it 16? Oh, shit.
Did you just get a
Bro,
1905?
that's the gun I've
Oh,
been wanting.
shit. Oh, I'm fucking
Shit,
up.
we're up. Oh, yes.
Jesus Christ, everyone, calm down.
Oh, hold it, hold it, hold it. Oh, you're in. You're in.
Well,
You're in. You're in.
oh my God.
Motherfucker, this is America, and that's what we do.
Look at that. Shit.
Did you just get the air guns for
Bro,
1200?
bro, I'm telling you right now.
That is like the
Holy shit.
steal of the day.
Who gives a shit? Get it. Just get him.
That's
I don't need that. I don't need that.
Oh, man. $800 you should.
$800 you should have done it.
Oh, God. This is so stressful.
I love it.
Hang on, so what did I pay for that?
Like $1,100.
I have so much money left. I have so much money left.
Let's buy something else.
Let's buy some shit, everyone.
Hey, street sweeper.
Street sweeper.
You gotta get this bag.
Fucking
The
harpoon gun.
the spaz, the harpoon.
Harpoon gun.
Good, good. Look at that. Little $6,500. Dude,
Dude,
you
if
still can
if
get your
I
single
can-
actions.
So it's basically I could get a single action or I can go for the spaz. The thing is, the spaz is after the single actions. Dude,
Well, then
if I
just
can
have
get
the
that,
single
action.
if I can get that spaz though, those are not easy to come by.
Well, then let's get it.
I've got $4,600 I can throw at it.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
No, you don't.
Why don't I?
Light harpoon gun.
I know. I know. And that's the dilemma I'm now in, is I now have more money than I thought I was going to have.
We're just rolling.
So I'm in a serious dilemma here where,
in the best dilemma, by the way.
because I came out so ahead on what just happened, the Spaz 12 was going to be my, like, if I could throw down on one thing, I would throw down on that. But because I already checked an actual necessity box, I may have enough money to actually get a Spaz 12 today. But that would tank the harpoon gun.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're at Rock Island Auction. You know it, you love it. You wouldn't believe it, but we're all buying guns, and it's so exciting. It genuinely is one of the most exciting buying experiences you could possibly have. And man, it seems like we have a type. It would seem that we have a type. Now, I want to go in chronological order, so I'm going to let you start off. Which I think is most hilarious that you actually started us off. You walked in, you were like, "Hey, I don't have a 1911." I couldn't stand for that, and so
and just a disclaimer, so Matt's a real estate client of ours. That's not a joke. Like when we say this stuff, like I'm dead serious. Like we met for the first time yesterday, and I was like, "Come out to the auction, man," and he was like, "All right, I'll come out." Lo and behold.
So I'm gonna kind of, if you don't mind, I'll just tell you real quick what you have here, and then I'll kind of like let you talk about it for a second. So you told me you wanted a 1911. I as I've talked about before on the video, there were going to be some really cool refurbed, re-arsenal, rebuilt guns coming through. And this is going to be, one of them. And, Nick wanted one as well. Y'all two kind of went back and forth a little bit. And you ended up dropping out of the 1911 thing altogether. And you stuck to it. And you were the first one to draw blood today with an absolutely beautiful Colt frame with a Springfield Armory slide. Very cool. Very, very cool, of course. This represents the 1911 being able to be rebuilt from just random parts during the re-arsenal period. The gun, I believe that's an AA gun, so Anderson Arsenal, which is really cool. And you just talk about it because this is your first 1911, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Awesome. So my name's Matt. As I said, I was a real estate. I used 1911 Syndicate for my realtor when I moved to Dallas. Absolutely, avid follower. I got to meet Jake yesterday at the airport, like they said.
He got swept up in the emotion today.
Yeah, absolutely, right. So I came here with the intentions of not buying anything. I was hanging out. Yeah, I was like, I'll just hang out. It'll be cool. I realized there was free beer, and I was like, this is going to be my job here, so just drink free beer. Make sure that none of these guys look more drunk than me. So then I was like, okay. Nick here said something incredible. He was like, if I'm going to do a 1911 collection, I'm going to start with the first 1911. And I was like, oh my God, I don't have a 1911 at all, which was kind of like an issue here. I'm like, oh yeah, I follow 1911 Syndicate, don't have a 1911.
Yeah, criminal.
Yeah, no, it was pretty tough. I got coached that I need to get one, right? So there was just so many today, and then I figured there would never be an opportunity for me to probably be able to buy a 1911 with the amount of education and knowledge on the 1911 platform. So it was kind of like a why the not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I should absolutely do it. And the lore, right? I mean, we talk about it, my first 1911 being just this was a 1917, right? Super excited, super pumped.
Re-arsenal, so literally 2 world wars.
Yeah.
Yes, this is a 2 world war gun.
Yeah, see, and I'm learning more about it. So it's a incredible experience. Yeah, I was surprised. I ended up bidding. Yeah, we missed one that we were deciding on who was going to bid on it. And then the second one, you were nice to let me bid on it. And I picked it up, I think, for a pretty good deal. So.
Oh, you got a solid deal. All right, Nick, what do you got?
Yeah, so I shifted my plan. I wanted to get a 1911. So for those of y'all that are in the not knowing, the 1911 was originally introduced as the 1911, and then it became the A1 pre-World War II, but then that's what was produced then. So I was looking for World War I era 1911. Matt jumped on that grenade for me, so I didn't have to spend money on it. But I've wanted a 1902 because this is just such a cool looking gun. I really wanted one with the front serrations, and I didn't have the horsepower for it. But I wanted one with front knurling because that's a lot of money. But that's the thing. So I posted something on Instagram that I was trying not to spend my daughter's college fund, and she messaged back, "You better not." And I was like, "Well, now I kind of have to."
Too late.
So too late. Now I did it, and got this 1902
All right, and you know me, Mr. 45 or 45 Friday today.
Oh, yeah,
It is
good
45
call. Good
freaking
call.
Friday. And you know, the gun I was after, Colt 1905, I've really never seen one of these for under $3,000, and the only one I ever had seen under $3,000 had been was non-operational. So, you know, that's that. This 1905 came around, and I just was like, well, if it works, it works. I actually was starting to build a plan for what's next.
Yeah.
Because I thought, well, this isn't going to happen. And sure enough, the bid started. I kind of waited because, you know, that's my thought. We're going to wait and kind of see where the bid starts to tip down. And it tipped down around $1,500. And, you know, which also, why do people not do that? That's
I didn't do it, and I don't know why I didn't do it.
I did.
I was hoping to stay discreet.
Yeah.
It's like, I need to win this thing.
So, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know why people don't do that, but anyways, well, you know, boom, and 1,600, and boom, the gavel dropped.
That's crazy.
And the craziest part about this was the next lot, and you almost
I
missed
almost
it.
forgot. I was so
because
excited for you.
Here's the thing. We, unlike a lot of these older guys where they win a thing, you know, they've got mountains of cash at home, they win something, okay, cool, they write it down, they go about their business. This is an exciting moment for us.
Oh, yeah.
So this was the next lot, the very next lot.
Yeah.
And we were kind of like, oh shit,
Amped.
you know?
I almost forgot.
Like
I
it was
literally almost
already
forgot.
started
Yeah.
by the time that we were like, oh shit. And dude.
So the 2-gun lot, I can't believe I'm taking everyone's word for it that I got this for $1,100. I don't know. I was in a fog, okay? But like to get a clean 1903 and a really clean 1908 with box.
That's a reproduction box, but
is it? Well, dang it, but whatever.
Still cool.
It's still cool. But it's like that at that price has now opened up the possibility that I might not be done today.
well,
Like,
and I think
I might be
everybody,
going back into the well.
I think everybody was kind of like, what just happened?
Oh,
Yeah,
it
that
was
was quick.
It was a haze. Yeah.
Like, because, you know, my gun, boom, then your gun, boom. Both of these actually, I think, went very low.
And the one after me went insanely low. I'm almost
Which
mad
we-
I didn't buy that.
Which, yeah, we were all like, everybody was like, somebody just needs to buy that. And, you know, of course, we were kind of so in a fog.
Yeah.
Now, you know, it's funny. I did notice, like, when the auctioneers see a group like us, they're like that got them excited.
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah.
they were
into
like,
it.
hell yeah. And both you and I both forgot to leave our number up long enough because we just, you know,
So like,
spiked
sir, I don't know who bought it.
we just spiked the football and we were like, hell, you know, starting to do our touchdown dance. And, you know, they were like, hey, can you lift up, you know, your car?
You're slowing down the roll, guys. Move
Right.
on.
Right. And so anyways, we had a great time. Listen, you know, I'm not trying to say I'm a bad influence, but all I see here is Browning Designs.
Yeah. Now that said, I don't even know where the video is at this point. It might be an hour and a half at this point. Who knows? But I might not be done. So we'll jump back in there and we'll see how the rest of the afternoon shakes out. Okay, so plot twist. Apparently there's a gentleman here that just walked in the back, the Spaz 12 that I'm looking at. A guy just walks back there, and Caleb was smart enough to hear this guy basically say, I'm here for this. Like, this is what I'm here for, which makes my life a lot more complicated. So now, a potential backup plan, we're on lot 828. Lot 833 is a really good single-action Army that I like. If that thing stays low, your boy might be throwing his paddle back up.
Well, what's low? Define it for me, please.
If that thing stays somewhere around 1,700, it's going to be really tough to say no to. Yeah. And that's within the range. So we're going to see. So my number is about 16 to 1700. That if I got it for that, I'd still have 3 G's to go for the harpoon gun.
Oh yeah, that, and trust me, that dude
He's gonna go
definitely
hard?
lives in his mom's basement.
Oh, really?
No, I'm just saying he just seemed like, it didn't matter. He was coming home and he literally said,
Okay.
yeah, there's other Spaz 12s, but the other ones don't have the folding
folder,
stock. He's
yeah.
like, why would you even want that?
Okay, so this is the best intel of the day. So lot 856 and 859 up to about 1600. Here's the
Give me
breakdown.
a
It's the single actions we looked at yesterday.
Okay. I'm tracking. 56 and 59.
Okay, so I can go 16 to 17 on those and still have 3 G's to then go for the harpoon
For
gun.
the Greener's Light harpoon gun.
I'd have 3 grand left for the harpoon gun.
And that to me,
Is
the
like
way.
right. But if I walked away with a single action and a harpoon gun,
no, if you
And a
walk away,
1903 and a
1903, 1908, single action, harpoon gun.
absurd.
Dude, that's what George Washington died for.
Exactly. Okay, so sit rep. Caleb's got to leave a little bit early. The day has just gone long. Like, it's just a reality. The day has
What
gone
happens?
long, but you still want the gyro jet.
Yes.
So you're going
They
to
have a
defer to.
Yeah, so they have a form called a sealed bid form that I can put in where I put my auction number and everything else on here, and I put the dollar amount that I'm willing to go up to, and then they'll just use that bid for me. And I guess I'll find out on the road whether or not I have a new gyrojet pistol waiting for me. Otherwise, I got a backup plan for Sunday's auction.
Okay, I'm coming up on 854. So here's the thing. Of the 3 single actions that I'm looking at, this is the one in 357 mag. And I'm also not going to be mad if I get a 357 mag single
You
action
should not
on
be
me.
mad. Where are the single actions going? Have you been paying attention?
No, I haven't.
Here's the thing. Single actions are one of those guns, man. They're like 1911s. Americans see them, they
And all
just
these are
start.
3rd gen, so
That helps you.
that's what I'm saying. 17
But
is my top.
They are fairly early third gens.
Yeah. All right. 1700. Be disciplined.
This one will be a good one to judge.
Yep, I'd be out. I'd be out.
Lot 854 on the Colt, 3rd gen, single action with the box, and 1,000 now, 11 now, 1,200 now, 13.
Hold it.
1,300, 13 there now, 14 here now, 15 to you, 1,500, 1,500,
Wait, just wait.
15 there now, 1,600, 1,600 now, 17, what do you think of 17 there now, 1,800, 1,800,
I'm out.
what do you think of 18, what do you think of 18, it's all
I think you
for
could have went to
1,800, what do
2.
you think of 18, what do you think of 18?
You know, that blows the harpoon budget, though. That's why it's 17. It's based on budget.
Is that the 357?
Yeah, that's 357.
Man, that's a good buy.
It is a good buy. I don't hate the buy. It's just not a good buy for me. Okay, up next, 856. 856 is next.
I know.
Well, hang on. I don't really actually hate that gun. What's that in chain gun? 44 special. No, I'm out.
Ah, 44 special's cool.
I don't want a fucking chrome stainless one.
It is nickel.
Yeah, it's too much.
All right, here we go.
I'm in. 1700.
And 1,300 now, 14 now, 15 now, 1,600. 1,600, what do you think of 1,600? What do you think of 16 live? 16 there now, 1,700. What do you think of 17? What do you think of 1,700?
Hold it.
1,700, what do you think of 17? What do you think? 1,700, what do you think of 17?
Yeah,
Last
they're right.
call. Fair warning, it's 17 there now, 1,800.
I don't know.
1,800,
Why
what do you
not?
think of 18? It's on the floor. 1,800 live, what do you think of 18?
Oh my God, hammer it.
1,800, what do you think of 18?
Lady,
What do you think of 1800?
wrap it
Last call.
up.
Fair warning,
Wrap it
1,800 last
up.
call.
Wrap it
Sold
up.
1,700.
Fucking America.
Yeah.
This is America, and this is what we do.
3 ponies, count them. 3 for Jake's
I
sake.
bought 3 Colts today.
3 Colt. Number.
Sorry, my bad.
Oh, they hate us.
My
They
bad,
hate us so
everyone.
much. They're like, look at these bunch of amateurs.
These fucking people.
These fucking guys.
But wait, he wants to do it.
They bought a
What was it,
$2,000 Colt and they think they're somebody.
I went right. So, okay. I have 3 grand to go for the harpoon gun.
And that is what matters.
I bought 3 guns, and I've got 3 grand left to go for the harpoon gun.
That is, you've had a nuts day. I think we've all had pretty good days. You've had a nuts day.
3rd gen. That's in 45 long Colt, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
excellent.
With the box.
Man,
And the box is cool. Yeah. One of
This
the wood,
has
fake
gone
wood
well.
boxes.
this has gone well. Apologies to all the other people here who have to put up with us today.
Yeah, they are all like, whoever those stupid influencers are,
Get these fucking people
get them out
out.
of here.
I'm tapping out for the day. I'm waiting
And
till
this is
Sunday.
the last collector and sporting auction that actually people got deals on.
Okay, so at the end of the day, there it is. There's another one. So I'm officially 3 guns deep today. I think as a group we went, what, 6? I went 3.
You 3,
1,
2, 3.
1.
Yep, 6.
1. Caleb's got a closed bid in. I'm going to be placing a phone bid on Sunday for the harpoon gun. So obviously we can't film that because I'll be doing that from the telephone. But if you see a harpoon video in the future, that probably came from Rock Island Auction. I'm pretty excited about this. I mean, this left my mind as the day developed, and then I was like, hang on, this spaz ain't gonna go my way. I was like, dude, I'm pivoting.
Right.
Like,
When I heard that gentleman talking about, you know, how come hell or high water Spaz was coming home with him, I kind of thought maybe we should pivot.
I'm excited about this.
Well, and
I'm
it's
actually
something
really
you have
excited
to have.
about
An
this.
American ought to have a Colt
A
single
true
action
Colt.
arm.
Yeah, not a repro.
And
a
there's nothing
true
wrong with
Colt.
repros.
No, they're great.
But
And I have one, but it's like, this is exciting. This is actually
so
really
exciting.
exciting.
It's a relatively, nice 3rd gen. I mean, it looks unfired. In fact, I believe it is unfired. If you look at the cylinder drag line, I mean, it is virtually non-existent on this gun. In fact, we probably cocked it more than
Yeah, very heavy hammer.
more than anyone else. So it is absolutely stellar condition. The stocks are a little bit, have a little bit of crud on them that probably can clean up, or put some ivory stocks on it.
Yeah.
Put some hand of God stocks on it.
That's tempting. So, guys, that's how the day shook out. For the sake of letting you guys know this, like, this is not like a sponsored video by Rock Island Auction or anything like that. Like we're here as their guest on invite, kind of, sort of, but at the same time, I was coming here regardless. So it's like this has just kind of been like a fun. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, we can probably do this again. Like, this is definitely one where I'm like, hey, if you guys want to see 50 editions of this, I'm down to come to the next 50 auctions. Like, this is just fun.
And kind of like what you do when you have those like 1911 syndicate get-ups, like meet togethers. Like if we got a huge group,
Came as a group.
a 1911 syndicate group to this, because here I'm gonna be honest with you, it was a little stale in there. Other than
we sent it.
We absolutely partied.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we sent it.
So listen, that may be something we want to think about later.
Yeah. So hope you guys enjoyed it, and we will see you